My goodness. My bad, my bad. So I just realized that I've been talking to myself for quite some time. I had my microphone has a mute button and I forgot to unmute it, so I'm going to start again. Muchas gracias, Santiago. Thank you, Santiago, for letting me know. You should start hearing me now. So what I was saying is that this is the third video in this series regarding Steampipe, and we're looking at in a couple of live streams before, like we looked at the install and setup, and we also looked at how to query it and how to retrieve data using the Steampipe plugin. Also, another thing that I mentioned is that in case you've noticed, I have a t-shirt that says "Talk SQL to me," which is basically some swag that I got from the team at Steampipe, and they basically sent me some swag because of the contribution of the SAP BTP plugin to the Steampipe hub. So thank you very much for that. It's actually quite cool. Also got some stickers, which are also very cool. I put some on my laptop, so they're there now. So I guess I want to share a couple of things with you before we get started. So in case you've not you haven't been following what's happening lately in community, the SAP community website was recently migrated. So this website, which you were able to access through groups.community.sap.com, although that URL still exists, like it would just redirect you here. So the community website was recently migrated, I think the past couple of weeks. There was a content freeze and you weren't able to access the website. But then, now it's possible to access it again. So check out the new community website. It's different from the previous platform that we were using. Now you'll be able to find all the blog posts and all the questions and answers here on this website. Have a look around, get familiar with it. Just to bring your attention to a couple of things. The Oktoberfest, later this year, this will be something that you might end up visiting a lot. SAP Code Gems, check out if there's any SAP Code Gem in a place near you so you can attend. TechEd was recently announced 2024 all virtual edition, and there will be also something that we call SAP TechEd on tour. So check out that announcement. So that is for SAP TechEd 2024, you'll be able to interact with community members and obviously write your blog posts and your questions here in community now. So check it out. You will need Universal ID for this in order to be able to log in here. So if you've not gone through that process, go through that process of Universal ID. I guess most of you that are here are already familiar with that. So good morning to you, Elton and Jose Matias. Buenos dias. Santiago, the website does look great. I do like it. It's different. It has this horizon theme that we are all familiar with, right? It's quite cool. So check that out. Also, just to remind you, our YouTube channel, or you're already on our YouTube channel if you're attending this live stream. But I just want to bring to your attention that we have some more live streams coming up. So my colleague and friend DJ is going to keep talking about CAP. This Friday, actually. Check that out. And also next week, I've already scheduled another live stream, and this time it will be just seeing how we can interact with the Kima runtime of your SAP BTP account using the Steampipe plugin. So check that out. And obviously there's new videos. There's the SAP Developer News. My colleague also, Nora, just published this 2 days ago, I think it was, a day ago, about artificial intelligence and LLMs. So check that out. The SAP Developer News, which yeah, it's available every Thursday afternoon if you're in European time zone. So check that out as well. Yeah, cool. I think we can get started now. Okay, so let me switch to my terminal. You should be able to see my terminal now. Oops, I should close this. Yeah, I don't need that. Cool. So Steampipe troubleshooting. Okay, so I guess we can run into problems whenever we are dealing with any sort of tool, right? I guess one of the things that I normally do first is validate that I'm running the latest and greatest version, just to make sure that, I don't know, sometimes you might be running on an old version and the issue that you're facing has been fixed in the latest version. So in this case, we need to check for two things, right? So for example, the command line utility itself. So we can check that by running Steampipe -v, which is basically version, and this will tell me the version that I'm running. Okay, so 0.21.4. We can check the latest version, for example, in the Steampipe website. Sorry, in the downloads section. You can see here version check Steampipe -v, and the latest version is 0.21.4. Cool, that's good. Now, obviously, with Steampipe, we are dealing a lot with different plugins, right? And in order for us to see the plugins that I have, we go to Steampipe plugin list, and okay, look. So here, this is quite good. It's actually telling me that there is a later version for one of the plugins that I have installed on my system. Okay, so at least the BTP plugin is on its latest version. And also here, we can see the connections that we have. So I've set up one connection for my BTP plugin. This is the BTP Trial, and we're going to dive into that in a bit. But then you can see that the version that I have installed for the AWS plugin is 0.128, and it tells me that there is a later version. And it also tells me how I can update this. So yeah, let's do that. So Steampipe plugin update. I can actually update a single plugin if I want. So in this case, it could be like this: update AWS. But I'm just going to run all as the command above is telling me. So Steampipe plugin update all. And yeah, you see it's downloading it now, and in a couple of seconds it should be ready for us. So let me know on the chat if, for example, you've played around with Steampipe already. If you've tested out the Steampipe, the SAP BTP plugin for Steampipe, let me know what your thoughts are. What APIs would you like to see included in it? At the moment, it's only part of the core services APIs that's there. But yeah, let me know if you're interacting with it already. This is taking some time downloading it, but you know what? I'm going to get ahead of myself, and here I'm going to open my my connection. So I mentioned before that we have the BTP Trial here. So I'm just going to open that, and this is my connection details. Okay, and we're going to, like, at least when I was developing this, and most of the issues that I found were related to the connection. So that's why I'm going to spend a good chunk of time today just looking at this and seeing different errors that we can face, right, when we are dealing with the connection. In the previous session, so in the previous episode of this live stream series, I went into the details on how to configure this connection. So check that out if you're not familiar with this connection. But yeah, it's all there. Okay, so let me see. Has this finished? Yeah. Okay. So this finished, and you can see that I have now the latest version of my plugin. So it's all good. I don't need anything else. So Steampipe plugin list. it should be, everything should be running the latest version now. So everything's fine, I would say. Loading 4 connections, and that's it. Cool. Let's, yeah, you see the latest version of the WS plugin there. Not that we're going to need it today, but it's just there. Okay, so let's start by, as I mentioned before, like we have a connection set up already. Let's try it. Let's see. Likely, we will start getting some errors. So I'm just going to query this. Yeah. Let's start by trying to get my global account details. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay, Santiago. So you've tried to use it a bit. Now checking how to use those for cloud platform integration. Yes, definitely. So cloud integration is one of those. Well, it is an API that I use a lot, and I can see how it could be added to the Steampipe plugin. And actually, it's the first API that I'm planning on including within the plugin. So stay tuned. I am working on it, you could say, and yeah, hopefully you'll see it soon. So okay, so I run a query and it's telling me fail to start plugin instance for BTP, right? And seems like an argument named CIS service keypad. Oh, okay. It's not expected here. Did you mean this? So there is a typo, right? There is a typo there. So yeah, quite cool that the plugin itself is telling me like how to fix it as well. So let's go to my BTP Trial, and here I can just, yeah, you can see that there is a typo there. I'm missing that. So path, okay, and in theory that should fix it. So let's save that. Okay, and now let's run this again. Cool, that fixed it. That fixed it, but now I'm getting a different error. And this is what I find interesting about this. Like in the end, with Steampipe, as you know, like under the hood, we're communicating with APIs. So although when we interact with databases normally, it is not likely that you will end up finding HTTP errors within the error presented. In this case, this is what we see. So for example, here it's telling me BTP Trial 401 unauthorized. Okay, cool. So that is telling me that there is a problem with the credentials that I'm presenting to the service, right? So you can, and today we're going to explore different errors that we're going to see. So for example, this is a 401, we might end up seeing a 404, we might end up seeing all the type of errors, like even timeout errors, for example. So let's dive into this. So this is a 401. So a 401, okay, so in my BTP connection, I've specified a service key path. Also specify an access token. And in the documentation itself, let's go to the documentation. We can see that as part of the documentation, there is a little table here related to credentials and the resolution. And this explains me how the plugin will end up resolving for your credentials, okay? So it's telling me that I can authenticate by providing an access token, and that's what we're doing, right? So here, you can see that we specify an access token. Now, this access token, in reality, it's an old access token. I haven't refreshed this, okay? So that's why we're getting that 401, right? But then it's also telling me that I can specify the environment variables, and then, for example, like we will be able to use the details of my service key, okay? So that's actually good. In the service key itself, we will find details, for example, for my OAuth, right? So my OAuth URL, where do I need to authenticate, right? And it's using the client ID and the client secret. So let's do that. Let's move to just using the service key and see what happens, okay? So in this case, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to comment this access token, okay? And let's see what happens. Okay, so So I'm saving that, and now let's run this again. Okay, so correct. So it's telling me now there is no access token. So now we need to set username, password, the token URL, the client ID, the client secret in the connection configuration or as environment variables in order for the plugin to actually try to get an access token. Okay. Now these values that we see here, they are also included within the config file. So we're not going to specify them unless we want to override them, right? So yeah, those are part of my service key. So I'm not going to specify those because they're already there, and I'm already specifying my service key. So I'm just going to, provide the username and password. And we can see here that, for example, in my connection, I have username and password. They are commented out right now. So I'm going to remove this comment. Okay, so username and password. Okay, cool. That looks, so I've commented that out. Let's save that and try again. So now, running the same query, and let's see what happens. Okay, I still get unauthorized. But this is good. Like, at least this is a different error from the one before, right? So at least we know that we're specifying the details that we need in order to get an access token, correct? Cool. So what can be the problem here? So, well, you'll notice that I have some hidden details here. This is like a functionality from Warp, the terminal that I'm using, which is quite cool. Check it out. But I just noticed here that my username is not correct, right? So in my username, I have sap.co when in reality is .com. So let's fix this. Okay, let's save that and let's try again. I hope my password is okay. But if not, then I will just need to type it again. But let's try this again, and let's see how it goes. Cool. So I was able to get some details down. Cool. So now I'm connecting to my trial account. As you can see, I was able to retrieve details. Okay, so this is working. Okay, so we managed to deal with the 401 errors. So in one case, it was the access token itself, the problem. In the other case, I wasn't specifying correctly my credentials, right? So my username was incorrect. So cool. Now we're able to interact with the service. Okay, so that's good. But now let's try something else. So my connection is working for the moment, but let's imagine, for example, a scenario where we want to actually replace one of the variables that we're dealing with here. So, okay, in this case, I already fixed this, but I'm going to replace something here. So originally, for example, when you go from whenever we want to overwrite a value that's, for example, in the service key. In this case, I want to overwrite the account services URL. Okay, so when you install the plugin from scratch, like you would get all these URLs with this variable region here. So it is possible that you will end up encountering this. And if you end up just commenting out that and not changing that region, for example, you might run into a problem. And what's the problem that you will face? Let's see what the problem will be like. So cool. You can see the problem here. It's telling me, okay, get this URL with region there, and it's telling me address. It finds something unexpected, right? That square bracket shouldn't be there. Okay, so let's start by replacing that. Okay, so yeah, we can face many issues here. Like let's say that I want to replace my region, and by any chance, I end up specifying EU77. That doesn't exist. I know it doesn't exist. But then what does that look like? So let's see what it looks like in the errors. So now it's trying to communicate with a region called EU77. And in this case, it's telling me incorrect certificate. Okay, so in the certificate, it's okay. So the plugin is sort of validating against a certificate, and it is expecting something. Okay, EU1, for example. Yeah, or anything with .hana.ondemand.com. So seems like EU77 is incorrect. Okay, now you know what? I'll try with EU1. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let's change this again. EU1. What do you think? What do you guys think will happen here? Is EU1 a real region? Let's check it out. So we're running the same query again. And okay. So I've specified this region that's telling me that the error shows me. And I want to see what happens. Okay, this is taking a bit of time. By the way, today's coffee is from Ethiopia, one of my favorite coffee producing countries. I got some. I have a huge bag, like 5 kilos of this, and I roasted this last week. So actually, I think today is just the exact date when. Oh no, it's still missing a couple more days so that it fully oxidizes it. But yeah, it's quite nice. I really enjoy coffees from Ethiopia. But come on, let's go back to this. So now it's telling me, what is it telling me here? Okay, this URL that I specify here, it timed out. Okay, so it's not able to reach EU1. Okay, and that's basically because that's not a valid region, right? So whenever you are dealing with URLs in your configuration, if there is something that's timing out, obviously this is not the correct URL. But what I like about this is that we've seen, for example, 3 different errors, right? We've seen like what happens if we don't change the values that are there, what happens if we specify something that doesn't exist at all, that doesn't go against the certificate, for example, what happens when you specify a region that doesn't exist, in this case EU1 as well. So we're getting all these time errors, different errors, right? So in the end, we're only just dealing with the connection details in the in the config. Okay, so let's save this and let's change it again. Let's try this again. In theory, this should work. Let's see if it works. Awesome. So I'm able to again get details from my BTP account. Cool. So those are like the URL related errors that we can find, right? So we've seen when we haven't changed the URL itself. So this case here, we've seen when I specify something that's completely invalid and it's unable to validate against the certificate, and we've seen how when I specify something that might be valid with the certificate, but it's not really a region, right? So in this case, EU1, it's not a valid region. Cool. So these are URL errors. Let's clear this, so we start again. Now, we can also find something like 404 errors, okay? So in this case, the directories, when we want to retrieve a directory that doesn't exist. Okay, so we know that as part of our Steampipe, let's do Steampipe query. We have different tables. One of those tables is directories, correct? And through here, I can get, for example, the sub accounts of a particular account. Okay, so in case you want to, for example, you don't know exactly how to query a particular table, like you'll be able to find examples in the plugin itself, right? So let's navigate to that and let's check this out. So accounts directory, okay, and in this case, you can see how I specify. I need to specify the GUID in order to get the directories. But you know what? In case we want to just grab all the directories that are part of our global account, you can use this query here, which, by the way, I noticed that it's wrong just now. And we'll get into the details on why this is wrong, but this will give you still a directory, so we can use it, okay? So let's copy this, and let's go back to Steampipe, and in this case, let's paste it. Oops, why is it not pasting? Okay, let's paste. Okay, there it is. So if I do that, then you can see that it's returning me, okay, there is one directory within your account that has this parent type project, okay? So if we reveal the secret, there is my secret, okay? That's my GUI, okay? So now, in order to see a 404 error, we're going to just copy, this is an invalid GUI, right? This is not a real GUI. Oh, you know what, we can do something else. We can grab that, let's try this. Let's see what happens. Okay, 404 error, obviously, right? It's telling me, so this is actually communicating with the API and it's trying to retrieve this value from the API, and it's returning me an HTTP 404 error, okay? Which is not found, so it doesn't exist, right? I specified a GUID here that is not valid. This is the one that I should specify, okay? So let's run the previous query again. Oops. But let's specify this value here. Let's change it. Correct. So now I'm getting a proper, I'm getting the details of a directory, right? So that's another thing that you might encounter. You might encounter 404 error. So for example, if you're not specifying correct values, you should see this type of error. So in this case, for the directory, it's a 404 error, and that's what we're getting here. Okay, so we will dive a bit more into these directories because, later, because when dealing, for example, with cache, okay, and I think that is very interesting. But okay, I just want to still focus a bit more on my connection details. Okay, so my connection details here. So another thing that might end up happening. Well, let's clear this. That's great, I think. Yep. Let's clear this. And now, another thing that we might end up encountering is specifying a wrong service key. So maybe, what if my service key doesn't exist there, right? So let's see, in this case, I have ls service keys. You can see that I have two service keys, the one for CIS DevOps and CIS Trial, okay? So what if I specify the wrong name? Which is something that can happen easily, right? So if I specify the wrong name, and then run this, for example, again, so as you can imagine, the plugin will not be able to find the service key, and it is telling me here unexpected end of JSON input. Yeah, JSON input. But what's the JSON? We know that the service key itself is a JSON file. So that might be a bit intuitive, maybe, I don't know. But then there is a trick, which is part of the Steampipe plugin itself. Let me see if we are able to find this in docs maybe. And there is a way of actually debugging this our plugins. Okay, but then where is it? I don't know. I don't remember where it is. Where is it? Manage Steampipe query learn. Let's just find debug here. Okay, I don't find it. Where is I think it was on the developers. I don't remember where it is now. But yeah, there is a way of actually debugging. Well, not debugging. Actually, is the log levels. I'm not searching for the right thing. How is it that I'm going to find it? Yeah, so we can specify a log level, as you can see here. Okay, so and this basically will tell me more of what's going on within the plugin or within Steampipe itself. Um, yeah, on by going through the logs. So let's dive into that a bit. So let me share this with you, so that you have it as a reference. Yeah, so you can check that out as well. So we can see that it tells us that the logs are written to Steampipe logs. Okay, and at the moment I think my Steampipe log level might be info. Okay, so we can set that on terminal, and then we can start seeing more of the logs. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to my terminal, and in my terminal, so the Steampipe logs, you can see that I have a couple of logs here. So yeah, and they're separated by date. So for example, yesterday I was playing around with this, and there were some logs created, but then we should focus on this one, right? So there's the database log, the plugin log, and the Steampipe for the command line utility. The database is, for example, if there is any problems in Postgres itself, as you remember, so discussing, I think the first instance of this live stream. Under the hood, there's a Postgres database. In this case, so any logs are related to Postgres, you will be able to see them in this in that log. But for plugins, so in our case, the BTP plugin, we'll be able to find it here. Okay, so let's open that in a separate tab. Let me just go here, and let's do logs, and let's do a tail of my plugin. Not this one. So 31, that one, yeah, that's that one, right? So let's just tail this, and let's start seeing. But let's start by just running the command right now. So let's run this command, and okay, so I still get the unexpected end of JSON. So in my plugin here, I'm doing a tail, right? So I'm seeing the latest, and you can see here that it's just telling me unexpected end of JSON input as well. Okay, so that's a warning, there's an error. Okay, it's telling me it's a connection error here. Okay, but this might not be enough. So I want to increase the log level of my plugin, okay? In order to do that, I do an export, trace. As this is basically what we found in the documentation here. It's telling me to set it to trace, okay? Let's do that. And now if I run the same query, we should start seeing a lot more things within my plugin log file. Okay, let's go to my plugin log file, and we can see that there's a lot more stuff now. Okay, we start seeing trace logs, lots of info, debug as well. Okay, so let's go back to, okay, so here you can see that the plugin itself is telling me a lot more information now. We start seeing debug logs here, okay? So in this case, it's telling me, what is it telling me? Yeah, well, different from before, it's telling me, okay, my CIS service key path is not empty. So I'm using the key path, as you can see. It's telling me that this, there's a service key error, right? Which is what we saw before. So yeah, this basically is telling me you should probably look at your service key. Like the plugin knows that there is a service key, right? So it's using that, but there is a problem with the service key. So it's telling me, well, have a look at your service key basically, right? Because I'm not able to use it. So because we introduced the error, so we know that this is not valid, right? So if we just remove that, save it again, and run this again, we know that it's going to work. Okay, because it was working before. But what I wanted to show you here is basically this. With the plugin itself, like we're able to access more information under the hood. Okay, we're able to activate a deeper tracing level, right? And we can use this tracing level in order for me to get more information of what's going on in my plugin. Okay, so by using this tracing level, you see here, for example, it's telling me, okay, I've used this this service key file in order to handle my authentication. So yeah, have a look at this, because in the end, it's like if you face any issues and you activate the tracing level, you'll be able to see a lot more information related to the plugin, which is good, which is basically what we want, right? Cool. So we've been able to fix that. Now, another common error that we might end up running into is actually when setting up a new connection. Okay, so you can see here that I have my BTP Trial account, right? I have a connection for that. So for example, I can easily just go like, yeah, I'm going to copy my BTP Trial connection to productive account, for example, BTP.SPC. Now, obviously, I would need to go to my, let's quit this, and let's just do BTP.SPC. And I can just go ahead and specify a different service key path, right? So before, we noticed that there were two service keys. One was for trial and one for DevApps. Oops. I'm sorry, I forgot to change to insert mode. So devapps.json. Cool. Oops. There we go. And that should do. So now I've said that. So I've modified my BTP connection. So what happens if I run this again? Okay, I'm getting an error here. So it's telling me duplicate connection name. BTP Trial. Okay, so what do you guys think the problem is here? I've changed my connection. Like I can see that the file is different here. So BTP and BTP Trial. There is something that I didn't change in my file, right? So if we look at the file again, we can see that up at the top, okay? So at the beginning itself, we can see that we have a connection name here, BTP Trial, and this is basically the same. So if we let's open my other BTP Trial. So you can see that here, my connection is exactly the same, which is obviously a problem, right? So there's a conflict, and this is what's telling me that there's a conflict here. So I need to modify this. So in this case, given that this is my sort of productive account, I'm going to rename this to BTP, and it shouldn't be BTP Trial. Okay, so let's save this, and now let's go back to my Steampipe query. Let's see what happens. There's something else that we can do as well. So let's do Steampipe plugin list. So in plugin list, now it's telling me that I have two connections, and you can see here, right? BTP Trial, BTP. So I have two connections available for this. So now, for example, if I go Steampipe query, just Steampipe query, and the .inspect, I have two connections here, right? So BTP and BTP Trial. The connections are like schemas listed within the Steampipe query. So yeah, so we have two connections here, right? And in the end, we see all the tables here. Yeah, so basically my connection is working fine. Okay, so if I go here and let's try running one of the previous queries that I have. I wonder what's going to happen now that I've not specified a schema here. So if I want to get this accounts directory, what's going to happen? Okay, I get a 404. But this is a valid directory. We saw it before, right? Reveal secret, let's see. That is a valid directory. So I imagine that what's happening here is that it's trying to get these details from my BTP account and not my BTP Trial. I guess that's the problem. So if I go, I don't know how am I going to be able to get, okay. What's happening? Okay, so if I go BTP Trial dot and run that, now it works. Yeah, so interesting, right? So we just noticed how like it's sort of defaulted to the BTP account, and that's another thing. Actually, this is something good that we're seeing it. We're getting a 404 error, and we were getting a 404 error basically because we were trying to communicate we were trying to retrieve those directory details from a connection that is not the correct connection. So it's important to specify your schemas as well, right? So very interesting. So in this case, the error was because I wasn't specifying the correct schema. But now I've specified the correct schema and it's working. So 404 errors can also mean you need to specify the correct schema. Cool. Interesting, right? So I have two connections set up, and I want to do something else. I want to maybe another thing that we might encounter is, for example, having problems with our not seeing the data that we expect. Okay, so what happens if we see data that we don't expect? So for example here, no, sorry, I don't need to do this. This will fail obviously. So let me clear this. I want to do something. I want to change my directory. Okay. So if I change my directory, I think I had something, query multiple accounts. I unfortunately don't have. Yeah, I don't have it here. But in essence, there is something that I want to query directories, okay? Because I want to show you something about the directories. So in my BTP Trial account, I have, let this refresh. I have two folder types, okay? So you can see here that we have two folders. One is called manufacturing and the other one is called procurement, okay? So when I queried this, I was only getting the ones of parent type project, but this is not correct, right? And let me show you why. So let's go to Steampipe query. There's more than that parent type. And here we have, let's see, we have, this is defaulting to my BTP account, and I don't want that. I want it to default to I want it to run my BTP Trial account. Okay, so now I see that we have two parent types. One is folder. Let's reveal the secret here. And this is the other one, which is project. So this project one is this one that you see here, this manage one, okay? And this is just a normal folder, okay? So there are actually three parent types that we can get in this for my directories. Hi, Park, WGK Park. Hi, how are you? Welcome to the live stream. I forgot to say hi before, and I noticed your message. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I was just in the middle of something, and I missed it. Sorry about that. Cool. So yeah, we have two parent types here, right? So if we run this, you see that now the results are instantaneous, and they're instantaneous because, in a way, the Steampipe plugin is caching the results. So it sort of optimizes, or like it knows that we don't have to go that frequently to the API to retrieve new data, right? So it is cache, so that's why we see the results instantaneous here. But now, you know what? So another problem that you might end up facing, right, is this. For example, in this case, we can change our directory type. We might be able to, let's just enable this entitlement management and see what happens. So now it's telling me that directory is managed here, okay? And if we retrieve the data, no. So let's retrieve data here again. I'm still getting that parent type folder, but that's not the correct parent type. I know that because I've seen the data before. So when dealing with Steampipe, as I mentioned before, this ends up caching results, right? So there is a way of actually turning off caching, or turning it on, or clearing the cache, and that's what we're interested in right now. But also there is the cache TTL, so the time to leave. I can set it up as well. But in this case, I'm just going to clear the cache to force going to the API again. Okay, and awesome. So you see that I've cleared my cache, and it actually went to the API again and retrieved this. And it's telling me that the folder type is of parent type group. Okay, so we've seen the change reflected. So that's another thing to be aware of, right? Like, for example, if you don't see the data that you're expecting here, make sure that you're not dealing with cache data. There are some scenarios where you might not want cache data. So yeah, just be aware that by using the cache clearing, like, I'll be able to clear my cache, okay? Or you can set a different time to leave, okay? That's also something possible. Cool, let's change it again, okay? So let's change this again. I'm going to edit this, and now I'm going to enable user management, okay? So what is this enable user management? So you can enable this feature to assign users as administrators, okay? And this will end up changing the type of my directory again, okay? As you can see, be aware of this. Once you enable them, you're not able to change them. So once I change this, okay, wait, there's a way of doing it. To disable this feature, close this dialog, then navigate into the directory and choose disable entity management. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. Let's have a look. Ooh, more info. Okay, where do I disable this? Maybe if I go to the directory itself. Yes, there it is. Disable entity management. Oh, okay. Entitlement management. I wasn't aware of that. Ooh, awesome. I learned that. You see, every time you end up learning something new. That's amazing. So in this case, I've enabled user management. Can I disable it? Yes, I can. Ooh, awesome. It's here. Disable user management and entitle user management. Okay, so let's just finish what I was trying to do before. So cool. So here I'm going to enable the user management. Say that. Awesome. That will take a couple of seconds. It is updating, it says. Let's give it a minute or two. Well, hopefully it's less than a minute. Well, let's go to the plugin. Okay, you finished. So let's go to the plugin and run the query again. What's going to happen? Awesome. It's telling me that my parent type is of type project. Both of them. Okay. Cool. That's good, because now I've set my directories. I'm seeing the latest data because of the cache. Let's go again and just disable those two. Disable user management. Yeah. And I'm going to disable the other one as well. So it'll be going back to just a normal folder. It's taking some time. Okay, this is taking some time. Let's try querying again. But remember, I gotta clear my cache, right? Yeah, cache. Run the query again. There it is. So it's back to group. Awesome. And I'm going to disable entitlement management. Disable that. And now it should go back to a folder. Okay. So yeah, the query is cache. Clear my cache again. And run the query again. Oops, not yet. Still working on it. Yeah. So gotta be patient. Gotta be patient. Let's clear cache again. Just have it ready. Yeah, this takes some time, but well, at least we're able to revert our changes, right? In case we've enabled it by mistake, we know that we're able to disable user management and also disable entitlement management in our BTP accounts. Okay, it's taking some time. That's more than a minute. let's try again. Still on group, so still not changing it. Oops. Let's navigate back to our sub account here. Yeah, still updating, as you can see. This is telling me I'm updating. Be patient, Antonio. Be patient. But yeah, once it finishes, then well, you know what? Let's do another thing. Let's just create a directory. Let's call it sales. Why not? And under it, let's create a sub account. And let's select a different region. I don't know. Just to name it something different. Not that it's going to be a production account, but just, oh, silly me. I forgot to set it under the sales directory. Let's move this. Can I move it? Not yet. Still creating. Yeah, this will take. Oh, this didn't work. Ooh, maybe that's why it was taking so long. Okay, let's just move this. Move to my folder. Awesome. Move that, and that's almost instantaneous. So it's not. It will not take that long. But yeah, this didn't work. I'm going to disable it again. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Maybe it was a glitch. Who knows? These things happen. You know. There's a trial account in the end. Okay, so it did move this. So let's just go back to my terminal here and run the query again. I should have another directory now, right? I created a new one. There we go. I have a new directory, that folder that we just created. This is still set to group, so it hasn't changed it. It's still in the process of updating it. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Cool. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. So let me know what you think. I hope you learned something in the process on how to troubleshoot the. It finished. Awesome. Let's go back here. Let's obviously clear my cache and run again. Awesome. You see, 2 folders now. Excellent. So I was able to disable that entitlement management and the user management. That's great. I like that. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I had for today. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you are now able to troubleshoot any issues that you might end up finding in the Steampipe plugin. And yeah, stay tuned because I'm still working on the plugin. I will add more APIs. I will definitely add the cloud integration API. It's something that I use very frequently and something that I will definitely want to see in this Steampipe plugin. Let me know if there are other APIs that you think it would be useful to include within the plugin itself. Yeah. So thank you for joining and see you next week. Next week, we're going to talk about the Steampipe plugin, but with the Kim environment. So yeah. Tomorrow, that will be same date, same time. So that will be next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central European time. See you then. So thank you. Thank you very much.